gathering us. Lord, just be with our community, our nation. Just bring a blanket of your healing, protection, guidance, Father God. Be with our nation. Be with all of our leaders. Be with us, Lord, that we just continue to follow in your will and to do things that would just strengthen Littlefield as a whole. We thank you for this glorious day and for our Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. See you. Any public comments on agenda items?
Nobody's requested.
All right. We'll look over the meeting minutes, page 2 and 3 from last, and then I'll entertain a motion to accept them unless you see any changes.
How long has it been since he came to me?
Brian? Oh, man.
Now come in. About as long as me.
At least 2. I'd say at least 2.
Yeah. Let's call him and see if he's going to serve or let's replace him.
I was thinking there was a time when head was tied up, and then was going to get past that. I don't know.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay.
Seconded.
Motion and second to accept the minutes as written. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say no. Motion passes. We'll look over the financial report. I believe, Justin, you're going to present that, please, sir.
Yes, sir. This is for the month of December 2021. We had our expenses for that month at $6,608. We've paid on our some of our outstanding commitments. Project Oasis, they have completed the pipeline portion of the project, so we're done with that contractor, Bo Simon. T-Hanger project, we've had a second invoice paid on that. Hopefully we'll have some more designing and planning done to move forward on that project. And our webpage design with Ms. Butler, we paid her her second portion of that. And we received $33,447 for taxes in the month of December. And our interest for that month was $316.70. Historically higher than all the previous past.
Wow.
Every month.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's excellent.
Very good. Motion to approve the financial report.
I'll make a motion.
Seconded.
All right. Motion made and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Motion passes. Director's report. Mr. Justin.
Yes, sir. As I stated for the payments, the well transmission line portion of the water well project has been completed. They're just awaiting the wells. They're going to start pre-construction meetings next Wednesday, and moving forward on that. There had been some supply delays on that, but we locked in the prices for everything, so they'll be moving forward. And Mike Neighbors will generate. He said he was going to go out there, take some pictures, and so we can bring for our next meeting. So that move, he's very thankful that we're able to do that for his department, and it's a benefit for the whole community. The T-Hanger project, it's been a constant, workaround. It's a volatile, I guess, market for prices. It's hard to get quotes and stuff, but our engineers should have some bid items or some bids ready to go out for bid, so we can get real prices here in the next few weeks. They responded last week, and they said it would take 2 to 3 weeks to get those finalized. Continuing to work with our webpage design. It's going pretty good. The Civic Plus, we've reviewed everything. We're we're past the development phase. The total contract investment with the city and the EDC was $35,000. So, everything's good now with that. And we're just hopefully could get something live here in the next month. She's already working on a few tabs. Site selection, which will have commercial properties, including industrial, whenever we have them. And I briefed her on to contact the real estate brokers. They usually have brochures ready where you could just put a hyperlink where they can click on it and go to the seller and buyer's information for that. Make it a little bit easier for the people looking here. We had an airport realignment conference in late December, and we're going to be meeting early February. People have been suffering with COVID and stuff, but we'll have that scheduled soon. I know the Texas Tech veterinarian school it actually was in the news today, but they're actually fully started. We got to tour that facility. I think it was a $90 million building, and they had their first semester of students there while we were doing our annual conference. So it's going to be a huge impact for, I mean, they've been going after that for years, but they're rocking and rolling, and they'll be going out for recruitment for the next class. I believe they're doing it now for class of 2026. I went on a site visit with a prospect. They're at Aspire, and we've spoke to them before the holidays, and they've got their eye on a couple sites. ICT Holding has a 20-plus acre property that they'd like. It allowed them to expand in the future. It's a really big area, but they're deciding. I spoke to them earlier this week, and I guess they've been busy after the holidays, so they'll get back with us pretty soon with an answer of where they want to go or if they want to make that relocation. But they're good people, and they fit great in the community. They manufacture and fabricate the dumpsters, the ones that they go out in the county and everything. So they've got a pretty big clientele list already, and we purchased goods from them during the whole trash fiasco.
Have you talked to him since we should talk?
Yeah, I spoke to her yesterday, and then I spoke to her earlier this week, and I've caught her on the forklift every time. But they have looked at all the information, and they'll get back with us here pretty soon. That's what she said.
What locations did y'all show them?
All around. I mean, that's the point. It's not, I mean, we gave them some options showed them some real estate on the north side of town in the industrial district.
Yeah, the one with the water tower right across the railroad tracks, that one, and another 4-acre lot near the truck wash. There's a tire works out of Hereford. I actually spoke to Philip this morning. We're going to schedule a meeting here pretty soon to see if we could get them out here. They've got an operation in Hereford. Hereford is like their first one. Muleshoe, Pampa, and there's one more I forget off the top of my head. But we had a study done for that specific franchise, and they fit really well. We actually are a better market than their Muleshoe store, and so they don't have any competition within 30 miles, so it'd be good. So hopefully that goes well, and we have a few sites that will be really good for them if they decide to come out here. Brahms has had a very aggressive expansion out in this region, but they've kind of put a halt on that. They're searching elsewhere in the country right now, but she said to circle back in about 6 months to see where they're at. But I guess they've already looked in Littlefield, and they said they do like it, but in the future they may make that. And then with the T-Hanger project, I just want to let this government capital, the one that does financing for projects, that hey, we're still working on it. Kind of don't forget about us, but. They wanted us to sign paperwork, but I was like, we're not ready to be locked into anything. The board still has to make a lot of decisions. So, yeah, they're of course more than willing to wait. That's about it.
All right. Any questions? What's the airport realignment conference?
That's the project to extend the airway to 5,005 hopefully. So in the future they can have even more runway. The one that the city and has been working on for quite some time now.
Okay. We want to let him talk before the next.
I'll intro, kind of give you all some background on everything before we invite her.
Discuss and update construction of T-Hanger facilities.
Yes, sir. Yeah, for the updates, there really isn't too much going on besides the engineers waiting to get us those bid packets so we can go out and get finalized numbers for that. It has been a little longer than expected, but we need those to get firm numbers.
Okay.
And I don't know if Mitch has any additional.
Larry had COVID, so I think that's been the biggest delay on him. He was pretty close to getting us a packet. As soon as he gets us that RFP or bid packet, we're gonna mirror that for the purchase of the building. Because that's a pre-engineered building and we're saving some engineering costs and stuff. But as soon as he gets that, I'll be able to do my part and get them both bid at the same time and try to get an overall number for everything. Quite preliminary.
Any questions on T-hangers? All right, Justin, introduce.
Yeah, just to give, I've been speaking to Ken for quite some time. He currently has a demolition company here in the community and services, you know, this entire region. He originally wanted to create a big equipment rental company, and that doesn't fall in line with what we can incentivize. And you know, he's kind of been thinking on you know, ideas and gone back and forth, and this is what he's kind of got his mind on. It's taking wood and turning it into firewood. He stated, which he'll explain more, that he spoke to GBOs and they're interested in purchasing bundles or at least 2 pallets per store of firewood, but his idea is to make pallets and wood chippings in the future. I wanted y'all to hear from him and kind of ask any questions. He's generated a little bit of a business plan on his idea, expenses for the property and everything that goes into it. He actually already purchased a property right out here on the corner of, I forget what the address is, but they're already demolishing the building. It's on the corner.
That's what's gonna go.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
He has one employee, but you know, I made the distinction that this employee has to be dedicated to this one operation. There's no flip-flopping, because that's what we care about, you know, jobs created in the community. You know, it's a unique project, you know, manufacturing wise and stuff, but you know, I wanted him to come in here and tell the story, and then we could discuss, you know, a little bit afterwards, and I'll go grab him right now. Hey y'all, this is Ken. Appreciate you coming. If you want to take a seat or stand up, more than happy. I briefed him on the idea of the wood shed, and just kind of wanted you to pitch your idea and how the business is going to be structured.
Yes, sir.
Where you're going to get the goods and kind of all that stuff.
Well, I got an outlet, they just burn this stuff, so I get it fairly cheap. And it's just at the state line over by Texarkana and Arkansas. And it ain't that big around, they can't process, they say. So red oak, white oak, pin oak, all that oak stuff, hickory. And then tomorrow we're actually going after a load of mesquite. We'll go get 5 cords to start off with and go back and get another 5 cords. And then hopefully we'll get to where we can process wood pellets. Me and him was talking about that a few days ago. And to start off with, hopefully just 2 jobs to begin with. And after that, hopefully grow even further, 4 or 5 jobs. And I think y'all seen the building I've been tearing down in my spare time. And it looks like heck now. But it'll be looking nice here pretty soon, hopefully. And that's where we're at right now.
What does those conversations that you have with GBOs, what are they looking at?
They're looking promising that on them, they purchase a year in advance in July. But they're really, really interested in the mesquite right now. So I don't know how quick right now, but they said they're very interested in the mesquite.
Besides just firewood, do you have any other ideas or any other products that you're going to create?
Well, I'd like to see what happens with that, yes, sir, as time goes.
What other ones were you thinking about doing?
I was thinking, you know, maybe getting one of them band saws where you make slabs and maybe make some furniture. I don't know, because right now I've got a red oak log out there laying bigger around and about a BDU long. And it's a beautiful wood. And I hate just destroying stuff like that, but what will be, will be. And while we're working up there, just this past week, on the outer wall, every time I would stop and look, there goes a load of wood by. And like, it would go north to Hereford in that area. So, I'm hoping to keep everybody here in town instead of going to Lubbock, because there's a lot of people buying wood in Lubbock. And that's a lot of tax dollars going out of town.
Do y'all have any more questions for Ken or anything like that?
What is he asking for?
He's looking to seek some incentives to help those expenses on the woodshed. I think it totals up near $60,000. And I, explained to him the way we do that is for manufacturing and industrial, and we pay it on employee basis. So milestone, you have to have a fully employed employee for 1 calendar year, and then we'd generate a project like that with you.
Is your employee more working on processing the wood or traveling back and forth as a truck driver?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Yes, sir, a little bit of both.
Do you have another source if that Texarkana?
Oh yeah, I got people over in Wichita Fall area. And I got my nephews live in Central Texas. They got oak trees there everywhere. Not so much as hickory, but there's plenty of oak trees down there.
Okay.
And I've been talking to some tree trimmers in Lubbock. They just throw the stuff away. Matter of fact, I got a brush pile to clean up on one of them. It won't give me a chance to help, clean the brush pile out and pay me to clean it.
Yeah.
And and I can't remember the name. They're over on West 19th Street on the south side of the road there. Old gas station right there.
You have anybody employed now?
My current, kids demolition we do. Right now we got 3 people out there working right now, today.
But you haven't hired anybody. Your wood business you're running it all the same.
Yeah, I hadn't even started it yet. We're just, at this point right now, and hopefully we get the grant and we proceed with that.
Are you setting it up under Ken's demolition or are you setting it up as a separate?
Well,
LLC
I was
or
talking
just
to my insurance agency about that. And he said it would probably be cheaper to do it as its own entity.
Okay.
But Kids Demolition has already got millions of dollars of insurance. Of course, I have to work for the city of Littlefield and any other city like Lubbock. I work for them quite often.
Is that $4 pretty competitive?
Yeah, you go to Ace and look at their prices for their bundles.
$6, $7.
Yeah.
Is it? $7
Right.
bundle of
And and you go to other gas stations in Lubbock and they're higher.
That's the wholesale to.
Yeah,
those.
that's me to sell it to them and they'll mark it up from there.
Well, there's a lot of rules around this economic development stuff, and I'm sure Justin's talked through some of that with you.
Yeah.
And so, you've got it as separate as you can keep it.
Yes,
and
sir.
as manufacturing or industrial, which is a production of a goods, it's not a retail. LEDC A does not incentivize retail operations.
Right.
And so this is a manufacturing, has to be a manufacturing type deal. So,
Yeah, we just wanted to invite Ken in here, kind of explain this little this business opportunity that he's thinking of right now, and just hear him out, and then we just discuss in the future, where we go with this. So wanted Ken to tell you how this wood stuff is. I'm not a wood expert, so.
Well, we'll be bringing in the logs and processing them down here and splitting them. I've already got one splitter and I've got a few chainsaws. It ain't easy work by no means. Cause I did it when I was a kid back in Indiana, and so it is very labor intensive.
And y'all will still be selling, like if I wanted to show up, pick up a quart?
Oh, yeah.
You can still
Oh,
do
yes,
quart
yeah.
loads?
Oh, yeah.
2 quarts, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have it stacked up against the wall over there and we'll help you out. We've already got a forklift to help load or whatever, so,
Yeah, Gbo's is just another outlet. to
yes,
the
sir,
product.
yeah.
Are you gonna have any off-site storage? Cause I can see you building up a lot of wood.
Sir?
Are you gonna have some off-site storage?
Oh, yes, sir. Most of the bigger stores will be out at my place out behind John Rowley's, out in there. And that's where most of it's located at right now. I've got a little bit at the house, but not much. That's my personal use.
How long does it have to cure?
Well, normally about a year is what I like. You know, split it up, let it sit there and cure. Most of the stuff I've got already has already been laying around for over a year. And it's got a little rot on it, you know, but that's all right. Shave it down, go. And I got a picture on my phone, but I don't want to pass my phone around to everybody. But
Any more questions for Ken? Appreciate you, Ken. We'll
Yes, sir.
we'll discuss and we'll
Thank
get in
y'all.
contact with you. Appreciate it.
Coming in.
Thank you.
yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.
See you later.
So the way we look at what falls, there's industry classifications and it's generated, you know, through the government. And, you know, with the retail, we have to watch out, you know, as Eric pointed out, you know, with the whole selling of single units and stuff. So his primary consumers need to be a Gbos and stuff like that if we were to do it. This is a new business that hasn't even been created. So that's why I wanted to come in here and brief this before we look at any financials or anything like that. But, you know, he's a businessman. He spoke to other cities, and you know he found out about Type B money, and a lot of the projects are, you know, they're right there on that gray line, and it's like, well, we're not able to incentivize that. We just do the industrial part. So, you know, he wants to stay in the community. He's local man, and you know he's got his hand in a lot of things. So I told him to get to thinking, and this is what he come up with, and I just wanted to let y'all hear from him, and then if we move forward in the future, you know, maybe you want to see some more business stuff being implemented, him, you know, getting created and locking up some consumers before we, you know, I'm not too sure if a full incentive would be good for this, because employees are hard to get by, you know, 1 to 2 people in this sort of business it's going to be hard to get a year-round employee, and we don't want to go back and say, hey, Ken, we got to take your equipment now. So we want him to be successful and us to have a good project.
Well, and I don't know, you had told me at one point he was asking for $50,000. I mean, I don't think it's appropriate that we incentivize the whole
Yeah.
endeavor.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a practical portion, if he hires 1 or 2 people and we can offset based on employees
Yeah.
or a piece of equipment, but he's gotta get his business structure tighter. This has to be
Yeah.
more manufacturing.
Yes, sir.
And then it's pretty loosey-goosey right now,
Yeah.
so.
And just wanted him to get in here and you know explain that, you know, it's really hard to get, you know, our citizens to understand what we can really do, and you know, well, they see somebody else, and you know there's comments of, well, I do the same thing, and you know it's kind of hard to explain that, but we'll all continue working with him and kind of explain to him, to let him know that, hey, if you're going to move forward, we need to see more of a business implemented, and you know, if your business operation to start up is, you know, like I said, I think it's close to $60-something thousand. You know, 50,000 doesn't really seem realistic. Maybe in the future, if it does, you know, successful, we may do a reinvestment, but there's a lot more work to be done on this one.
Great. Any other questions on that? All right, let's talk about the business park on Highway 85.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the business park, they're working on a final plat approval here pretty soon. If, you know, if the impact is gonna be good, you know, the development cost to do a business park is extremely expensive. And one of the things when we start hearing as a corporation, that business park doesn't align with our industrial area. But EDC Type A's are able to do public infrastructure for business that promotes job growth in the community. Being a business park, they're going to employ business, or they're going to sell lots to businesses to start up a ground up construction project. you know, when we see this, we kind of want to be ready to assist in a project like this, because there's not too much developers coming to the city of Littlefield investing their private money to do public easements, which the city will ultimately end up, you know, taking care of, but they've got to build it. So just a good idea for us to consider helping out, because we don't want to lose opportunities. And if we had not had something else in the community, we would have lost the business. And I don't think we can do that if our job is to promote growth. And I know the mayor has more input, and the city manager, of everything that goes on out there with water, sewer, streets, alleyways for dumpsters and stuff. It's a really big financial commitment, and I think we should be a partner to assist, as in that's what we're here to do and make decisions on. So, you know, there's still a lot of work to be done, and nothing has really been done yet, and it may be something we look into partnering up with the developer or something else in the future like that. It'd be a good idea to think about. I don't want to lose any businesses, because we're ready for them to come out here, and you know, it's easy for them to go to another town and say, hey, we tried Littlefield, and you know, we see it being built, and kind of happened with the Burke's Outlet, and I don't want that to happen too much more.
So, full disclosure, I own a large percentage of this LLC that has this property by the Stripes, and had moved forward, been working on it for years to have some development. And so early last year, snow was on the ground when I'd sold 40,000 feet, or went under contract to sell 40,000 feet of that property to a new car wash. During that process, this was still vacant, unimproved land, so state law, city wouldn't allow us to just survey off 40,000 feet and sell it to the car washes without the utility work being done. And so I hired an engineer, spent approximately $45,000 with engineers, got an engineering estimate back in earlier last year that the total water sewer, so I have all kinds of documents I wasn't prepared to bring. What this water sewer project does is loops water sewer for there to be 4 lots in the future that would be car wash. Then there's ideally a hotel site is what we want to get on 84, but it could be 2 restaurant pad sites. There's 4 good sized lots on approximately 5.8 acres. And so to get water sewer, and then there'd be a street that would tie together 385 and the 84 access road, so that traffic, if there was a restaurant or hotel, they could come back into town and not have to get on 84 and go all the way out to the John Deere house and cut back across. So it was adding a street that would tie where you could get back into town from that.
So where's this at?
Behind the big Stripes on 385 and 84.
On the south side? That's
Yeah, it's L-shaped between Stripes and the Best Western and Stripes and the church.
Is there any church that's going in there, or?
Well, I mean,
let's put a pad there, and I'm not sure what.
There's an existing church there. I mean,
Oh,
that's where,
over.
yeah,
Trinity.
Trinity Church.
Oh, I got you.
Stripes
Yeah,
and Best
further
Western.
south.
So the engineer estimates back earlier last year was $266,000, which is a lot of money. But at that point, we had worked out with the buyer and with the developer to come in, and he was going to pay some more, his prorated share, and everything was marching forward. Engineering took 6 months, 7 months to get that done, to all the topographicals and water sewer and all the stuff they did. It took 6 to 8 months to get the engineering done. Well, in that time, the cost had risen. Went out to bid about, I think it was August or September of last year. It went out to bid, and the engineers had actually made 2 pretty large mistakes. But it went out to bid, and it came in at approximately $600,000. They had made 2 pretty serious mistakes, so I made them rebid it again, which took another 5 weeks, and they went out to bid again, and actually got 2 different companies. One bid on the water sewer package, and then one bid on water sewer and streets. The total project, Justin, it's been while since I looked at this, was around $500,000, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
So the problem is that this is approximately 250,000 square feet, and then that street takes out about 0.75 of an acre. So the usable sellable space, it's over $3 a foot for development costs. I mean, we're talking $3 a square foot sales price that has to go into it. Pretty committed. The problem is I've had this discussion with Mitch, and everybody wants to see growth here, but nobody wants to be the one that puts their $1 million up to get it done. I've been willing to do that to some degree, but I don't have that kind of money, and I do have a pretty healthy appetite for risk, but there is limitations too. And 200,000, we were prepared to move forward. 500,000 starts you over in life, and so. If this is ever going to take off, it's going to require some assistance from LEDC. And if it's a problem that I'm involved, I've got somebody I've talked to, I'll just sell the entity to somebody else and get it moving forward.
And the thing that I'm afraid of is if we not getting these conversations with, a future prospect, you have, in this economy, you have to be shovel ready for a project. You can't.
Well, so in the process, so this started in January of last year. In the process, and the guy that was building the car wash he's a farmer from Lads Buddy, great guy, worked together, and we'll stay hooked. Time went on. The engineers, this cost had gotten so high, that he wasn't prepared to pay the additional money that it was going to take to do it. And he had told me, he said, enough time's passed, this deal's sour. He had actually already ordered components for this project, knowing that, and we had committed and promised that we were going to carry forward. And so he had already ordered components for this car wash that they're going to use at another facility, but he backed out and exited the deal because it was taking too long. And so, I mean, you got to be shovel ready. That's what I've learned.
Yeah. And, if you want to see the aspect of it, if you go to Legoland, right over there off of, headed towards Lubbock, it's near the 110, I believe. They're actually building what would have looked here. And, they want future growth, multiple bays. That's a big opportunity to be missing out on. And as, we discussed before, it's promotion of job creation. It's going to increase the tax base. This is going to be a new building on the tax roll, and it's just going to increase. The community hears about this, and then it's we lost that. You hear the Taco Bell and stuff, but I think focusing on a project like this, we're gonna collect more sales tax throughout the year. They're gonna have 2 to 5 employees at this car wash, but it's just all these little things people start raising. Oh, okay, well, let's look out there, and then you're going to have 4 lots, you're going to have 3 other ones to sell after that and market. As a community, we won't do anything with it, but.
And the trouble is, I mean, the reality is okay, well, you're going to do all these improvements, and I mean, this land is sold by the square foot, it's not sold by the acre. It's big money. I mean, you're talking 40,000 square foot lot could be a $200,000 lot. The trouble is you go spend this kind of money, and when's the next one come around? I've been working 6 years to get this one done, and so you go invest $500,000 and you've got a $300,000 loan that you're paying interest on for 5 or 6 years till the next one comes along, and there's not many people that are gonna stand that. And that's one thing, Justin, talking with him, is this does expand city water and sewer services out. It can be further, that could be added kind of further on and do further expansion. And it actually fits within state laws, what he's told me.
Yes.
The street deal doesn't,
Yeah.
that doesn't, but the water sewer does.
The way it works is the same way we were able to participate in the 2 water towers is it promotes overall job growth, more water, we had an issue, we hit a code red. This, if the board deems it appropriate that it's gonna promote job growth, and that's how we can do public infrastructure. We're not doing it for the individual developers, and we're not doing it for the individual who's purchasing the land. It's public infrastructure, and the city will be in control.
Well, I've done retail incentives for infrastructure in other cities, and
Yes, sir.
it was okay.
Yes, sir. And I've called other colleagues throughout the region. I said, before I let anybody else know, I've checked, and they said, yeah, as long as it's public infrastructure and it's not being sold to the store, it's not being sold to the developer, the city's gonna ultimately be in control of it. Mike Neighbors or whoever the utility director is will be monitoring the project and, the service life of it.
And I believe dirt work, water and sewer are the things that I've done in the past, and it was,
Every bit of this water and sewer would be in a utility easement that would be owned by the city.
Yes, sir.
I mean, there's nothing that would be private.
Yeah.
Those discussions are having above my head, but correct me, is this not the same issue Capital ran into? Same problem?
Yeah, it's just
We
cost.
weren't gonna pay the development cost and
It
neither
just
was
got
that
big.
entity.
That was the first one, several years ago, Capital Farm Credit came to me on another spot, and it was probably, I made a mistake. I should have just charged forward and done it, but I was gonna sell $120,000 worth of property, but I was gonna have to spend $300,000 to do it. And I was like, oh, you're sitting here, yeah, you've sold some property, but you've got a $180,000 loan. Well, maybe the next one will sell next door. And at that time, I sure wasn't stout enough to be making payments of that magnitude. And so we actually passed. Capital Farm Credit did stay in town, probably did not get the kind of building that they would have built $1 million building. That would have went on.
I love my building, but it was gonna be really, really nice.
And so, but that's the trouble is they came in, they were in a hurry, they were a local company that was willing to work and okay, we'll work with development, but this development the engineering takes 6 months.
Yep.
The bidding out, and it's just,
Wasn't trying to out, but just trying to give another example of how this has caused has caused problems.
and it's gonna
before.
be a problem if me involved. I've had a lot of discussions with Mitch and Justin, and I've got somebody that I've already talked to about just selling the entity to and getting out, because I mean, we want to see stuff here. I don't mind if people don't like me. The list is getting longer.
I still love
That was
you,
not our
man.
reason for leaving, it was not.
I still love you.
But that's
Time and money.
that's the problem is, and we're having the same discussion. I'm just trying to give you a reference and keep it on agenda. Is new home construction. We've got a housing shortage. I've been talking to Mitch and Justin of trying to get a program to incentivize a builder, not Lori coming and building her own house, or Eric coming and building me a personal house, but Joel, if you want to come build a spec house that's not for you or your immediate family, and you want to invest $250,000 and build a house to put on the market, buyer unknown, I think the city or the EDC should say, we're putting this much money in this program for a 3-year set that if you'll come and build, we've got $50,000 in here, and we'll give you $10,000 per house as a bonus if you'll come build them. And that's, everything. There's a lot of opportunities here, but everything is significant money and significant risk. And people say, why doesn't anybody come here? Well, Lubbock developers aren't going to come over here and mess around in Freona or Littlefield. It's taking local people to do it, but it's big money and it's big gambles. And there's got to be some way to offset that a little bit. I mean, ultimately the developer's going to make money. And this is the United States of America, and capitalism rules. But there's got to be something to take a little bit of that scary factor out of it.
So that's just kind of the update with the business park. We just heard another one that I wasn't aware of. How about the other ones we don't know about? As a community, this is a community development. This is economic development. We have to maybe looking to participate to help these developers, come to Littlefield.
If I wasn't the mayor, I would have already been in y'all's door a lot. So I'm making that, I'm kind of riding that. Maybe I need to be more concerned about my personal business, but if I hadn't been where I am, I would have been in here years ago.
That big mayor's salary, you don't want to know that.
But to get around that, I would just sell the LLC to somebody else.
What type of investment?
What I would like to do on this, I'd like to see this LEDC put in the water and sewer, and I'll put in the streets, which is more, so like $280,000 to put the street in and the dirt work for that. But I would like the LEDC to put in if not all, a sizable portion of the water line, which is about $225,000. So. 250.
Is it just, because I know that lot makes an L, is it just behind Stripes, or is it the land between Stripes and the church also?
It ties it all together, so it ties water back to 84, and actually, the church will have to be resurfaced off this, because it's a jicky little hillbilly deal that services that church, and it needs to be done right and get into an easement and done appropriately.
So how would that road run? Just tell me.
It runs from the very south side of the property. You know where the trees are in the big ditch? It'd be on the north side of that. It comes out of right about 26th Street, I think.
Okay.
And then it goes and L's and runs right down the east side of Stripes.
Okay.
So it'd tie that together, and you'd have
Make an L.
car wash. There was a little spot for 18,000 feet. And then ideally, we've been chasing hotels for a few years. That's the ultimate user. Would be the best thing.
How many $1 million you think could possibly be out there on that property?
Car wash was
construction.
the car wash was a $2 million car wash, and if you haven't seen it, if you're ever in Millshoe, look at it. It's right there on American Boulevard. It's called Crime Scene, and it's by I think one of those banks. But the car wash was $2 million. The back portion's the hard one to use, but you know, hotels or QSRs, quick service restaurants. I mean, quick service restaurants a $2.5 to $3 million venture, depending on the restaurant. McDonald's is about $3 million. Taco Bell's about $3 million. A hotel pre-COVID was $5 million. So you know, total it'd be $5 to $10 million.
That was my thought, was that lot between Stripes and the and the church could be big, if it had better access, could be a big deal for a fast food.
$5 to $10 million on the tax roll. I mean, it's a big deal.
That could get Brahms or somebody else back interested if they had access to it. 'Cause right now that sucks.
And I'm going to tell you the truth on the restaurants, because I helped the Taco Bell lady buy that. I didn't understand how important it was. All your restaurant development's going to be from the overpass north. They want to be by other restaurants. I told her at that time I would nearly give her a spot over there by Stripes to just get. And she said, even though it's across the road, it's a whole different country.
It's not next to McDonald's.
Yeah, she said, because when you drive through and McDonald's drive-through's long, you're like, oh, there's a Taco Bell, and you pull in.
You have to come back around, get underneath the overpass.
Yeah. And so if it's a QS, if it's restaurants, it would probably be some bigger sit-down restaurant instead of a quick service. But car wash, and I think the owner's still interested. He actually, I believe, bought this one, so hopefully he'll add some investment to it. He bought the one by First United instead, so hopefully he'll clean it up. But I think he still would be very much interested. I mean, they had room for two of them, so.
Just city tax on that would be about, if you had all that came to fruition, you'd have about $70,000 a year, so that would come back in 3 or 4 years.
I know Justin wasn't here, and but did we ever get approached? It had to have been back with a trucking company to possibly locate here, but then there were problems and issues.
We do have one that is located out on 54, but they've had a civil war over with the contractor and the owner. It's a milk truck wash plant, and they got cross, and it's just kind of in limbo right now. And they have like 30 employees.
Well, with WDT, the company that Rick works for, they're now located in Shallowater. And the yard manager had told him that Littlefield was a potential, that they had actually wanted to come here. And they've got a big operation now. But Littlefield had limitations.
We talked to them a few years ago, and when we discussed with the Shallowater company a couple years ago, they were worried about, they said, yeah, it would be logistically better, but we're worried about having the employee base, because they're pull off of Lubbock. And they had just made a pretty huge investment in Shallowater. But yeah, we're still trying. And it's kind of, that's what this truck plant, this wash deal was kind of supposed to be competition for them, basically. But I don't know what the status is of that out there.
Yeah, they've gotten cross. I don't think the owner out of Dimmitt or Dumas,
maybe.
Chavis, he I don't know, I think the rise in cost, just like this 385, or the higher cost in the bids for the little bit of utility work to get the bore across the street is just made them mad, and I don't get it. It must have been the builder, we dealt with him a lot, and, you know, we thought we were going forward with all that stuff, and then it just stopped, so.
With the cost of this, on this, back to this 385 deal, with the cost escalation, and PVC pipe has just went super crazy, but, and everything's gone crazy. It kind of needs to be a grant, I think, to help defray that, but even just no interest kind of loan back, you know, as stuff's sold, there's a lien back that gets $1 a foot or something. I mean, something like that is fine, but what was painful on it was going to my bank and saying, hey, I need to borrow $500,000.
And I don't know when it's gonna be back.
And I don't know when it's coming back. That's $4,000 a month payment, and those aren't fun. I don't make $4,000 a month. And so that kind of gets to be, that's what the trouble was. But even if it was some type of a portion of it or something was a loan that said, hey, LEDC will loan this to the developer, but we're putting a lien on the property, and as you sell lots, you're going to pay back $1 a square foot or $1.50 a square foot to recapture some of your money. That would help also. But with the escalating, with as high as it is, part of it needs to be a gift.
I know you said large ownership. Would that entity be interested in letting us put a lien on the property if we move forward with that?
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, the costs are so high. At the last bid, it's $2 a foot that would have to go across and that's across the whole property. It's actual sellable portion of the property goes down from like 5.8 acres to 4.8 acres or something. So there's an acre that's lost to easements and utilities and streets, and you know, so the actual sellable acres, I think it was closer to $3 a foot that it was going to take to pay for the utilities. But yeah, I think that would be very doable if it was some kind of loan incentive as well.
Well, it's not like we're getting a lot of interest at the bank.
Yeah, we're getting down.
To me, I'd rather have the money tied up in a project than sitting on deposit at the bank doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess that's kind of where I was heading to, and I won't ever argue the fact, you know, we're not Lubbock, so yeah, you could go out and take that loan, have it paid back instantly, but we don't know when the next business is gonna come here, and nobody's gonna invest in that on that kind of time frame. It's not gonna happen. Nobody's that crazy. I don't care if they got money
Just
laying
not
around.
having monthly or annual payments. I mean, if it was tied to the sale and a lien on a property, like when you sell a
incentivizes
portion,
lots of people.
you're going to give us back our money incrementally. But that would help too. But it's the whole going to a commercial bank and financing that that you can't do. So if y'all are interested, I'll get more stuff together and bring a proposal. But I do need to know if it gives y'all heartburn that I'm the principal in it.
I'm biased. I'm interested because I'm still sore-headed that I didn't get my really nice building because of this issue, and I know we're not gonna be the last to have that kind of problem.
Yeah, we lost the
I'm
car
probably
wash
a
over
little
it too.
biased, but
We lost the bank and a car wash so far. So.
we stayed, so we can't really throw that out there. We did, and we used an old building that was just gonna sit there. It probably worked out the way it needed to, but I'm upset.
And I'm interested as well. I do think it would cause you heartburn as far as, and us, you know, and it could appear as favorites with the mayor, and I do think it would need to be and moved. And I'm also, not to bring back up the T hangers, but that's a good project as well, and we've got limited, so I'm kind of, okay, where do we weigh? And so it's one of those deals. That's a great project, and I'm also, and I know we skipped past the T hanger deal, but man, it's such a large investment. Is there a way to do some of it and not? And I know, well, if you're doing the 16 or the land for it and the development and the building, is it cheaper to go ahead and do the 16 and just take that huge investment? We don't have that much money to invest. I know we're gonna have to get a loan, but this is a great opportunity, and I think that is as well. And so it's, can we do both? Can you? I mean,
I think we'll know a lot more once we get those bid packets out and see some actual costs. And I can't help but think that, everything the way everything's going right now, it's like just boom in the face, pretty regular on costs and stuff like that. But
Absolutely.
I'm really hoping that we've kind of maybe gotten the brunt of it. So I'm hoping maybe things are settling out a little bit. And,
Man, it'll be going down, but not taking us
I mean, there's
tremendously
such a
up.
huge swing on this hangar project. I mean, we're saying 600,000 to 1.2 million.
huge-
It's like, what?
Closer to the 1.2 million.
Wow, you know, but yeah, I think we're gonna have to just see, cause there's no commitment on these bids. We'll just get some hard numbers. And I wished it was as easy as the private sector where you can just call and get some bids, you know,
Yeah.
but we have to go through the
Rigmarole.
process and
Gotta be
for
fair
our
trade
part,
practices.
the part the city's bidding will be easy. We're just gonna easy cheesy put something out, but the actual plans and specs for the all the rest of the engineered work, that takes some doing, and that's what they've been working on. Hopefully they'll get me something pretty quick, and then we can get it out. I'd hope to get it last week, but it's just, I think he's been sick is the biggest problem and hold up on that.
Yeah, and then just one last comment on, we have the, that financial report, and you see what's sitting in the bank, we have to put that to work, because
Yeah.
before we lose opportunities and then, we ain't gonna be able to do anything with it, so. I'd rather invest it and not collect interest, the little that we get, than,
Settlement,
promote
don't do
some
You know,
real
it's good to
growth.
have a war chest, but I
Yeah,
see cities that have huge war chests and none of that.
No
Yeah.
production.
And then there are cities that put all the work, you know.
You may know what that building, they put that big slab right behind the fireworks stands on
It's gonna be a new
385.
fireworks stand.
It's the
Fireworks
firework
stand?
warehouse.
Warehouse.
Oh, is it really?
We know who owns it?
It's
He might.
what's it called? The same name that's on that little stand there. It's Mr.
W.
Mr. W.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it.
I think there's one on the way to Lubbock on the side of the road, a big old
Over on
warehouse.
Carlisle, by Carlisle. Yeah, we don't have as much authority out in the ETJ as we do in town, so.
Is it out of the city limit?
Yeah.
Didn't the water didn't that city limits used to run out that far? Did they rescind that at some point? Have I heard that before, that utilities used to run out past there?
Well, the utilities run, but
Okay,
I don't
that,
think
see,
that was
okay, they
ever-
just extend, they never
Might-
extended
might
city
have been in
limits,
the
just
city limits,
utilities.
but boy,
No, that's
it's been
fine.
way before
It was,
my
it
time.
must just been utilities that they extended, not the city
Yeah.
limits.
they used to call that the Jimmy Duke line.
Okay, that's what
There's
I
so
thought.
many fireworks set off
They
in the
have their
city
own
of
service.
Littlefield that they had to put a warehouse here
In town,
in town.
Oh, man.
but like I said, this is technically not, I thought it
There's
was.
nothing to see here.
I don't know. Oh.
Oh, well, I don't plan to have water to the building either.
Yeah, won't have no water,
Fuck
nothing.
it, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, fireworks
They just
down,
say-
no one, no
They
fire
just-
suppression.
They
How do
just
they not
say,
have to have a fire
they
suppression
just say our
system?
local fire marshal.
Is
will
ticked.
confirm
That's
it.
a little bit.
But
I can see that
it's
getting all over
like,
Jamie.
you only have so
He's got a
much
private
authority.
vendetta against firecrackers anyway.
Well, I don't wanna get into
Kinda
weeds.
And it's right down the road from his cattle too, it just makes me
I know.
laugh a little bit.
Well, I don't wanna get into the weeds, but that in this jurisdiction outside the city for 1 mile, we have some authority.
Yeah.
So if they do something wrong,
You
they
can.
cause a nuisance,
Then you can jump on them.
yeah, but
So they can build
we
that.
ask them, we send them a letter, and we say, ask them for the plans, so we can make sure it complies with our international fire.
I mean, no
codes and
water,
stuff.
that's not gonna have any kind of fire suppression system. They can do that. They can build something without a safety, just cause it's not in the city limits.
Well, that particular kind of operation, there's some NFPA rules that
Gotcha.
kind of come into effect on that. And, yeah, you can store some fireworks to a certain extent and do it according to code.
Sit Kevin Bates on them.
There's a lot going on. I mean, for several years now, everything's been kind of headed the right direction in Bruin, and then COVID came and slowed and chopped the legs off of everything. But there's a lot of good positive stuff that's still with the new schools taking legs, and I think that will probably pass this spring. Not excited about the increase in taxes, but I think it's the right
Gotta
thing
have
to
it.
do. Gotta have
Gotta
it.
have it.
And
If your school dies, your town dies.
there's some restaurant stuff kicking around. There's, this car wash deal's gone away, but I think at some point it could come back. I'd like to see the milk plant and some of that do some more expansions, but there's some stuff going on. There's some people, there's a lot more conversation about these houses and needing some houses built, and there's more people talking and calling and saying, hey, have you ever thought about building any houses? Oh, yeah, as a matter of fact, I have. And, but there's more and more people. I had a friend of mine ask me the other day about what would it take for him to build a spec house, and so there's those conversations going on. But the fact of the matter, the deal on the spec house is another capital intensive deal. And it's going to be scary. The first couple are going to be scary, but it's like Justin said, a lot of this we're going to have to get, if we want some growth, we're going to have to get a little more shovel ready. And, you know, this shopping center over by the swimming pool, the city came in and built the swimming pool. That shopping center is already leased out completely. Now, we've got a new Cricket Wireless, we've got a new supposedly pizza restaurant going in this summer, buffet, and so by us building that, it's totally leased out that shopping center. And you know, we've got to get a little bit more shovel ready and willing to participate, and getting with the attorneys and getting that pilot program finished on these houses that we talked about 2 months ago, and getting ready to get some of that going.
What's our problem with keeping businesses in that other shopping center where United and O'Reilly's and stuff's at?
There's big space and a lot of those, so everything retail like that is, they have regional meetings. I mean, it's a 2-year to 3-year forecast. So Tractor Supply or Burke's or anything, when they're talking about expanding to an area, they start talking 3 years before they actually come. And Burke's was pretty serious coming in, and then COVID hit and kind of got them stale, and they actually cut back some of their footprints last year after that. So we were really, I mean, we were getting a Burke's.
In that center,
Yeah.
center?
And then it just
Are
kind
they gonna
of,
be where the Shopco was, or potentially?
Well, that owner spent lots of money getting it ready to go. Matter of fact, on the sheet for ServPro, it
See,
said
I'm glad you said, because I've
Burke's.
often wondered if the owner was the problem.
No, it said Burke's at the top, you know, the contract.
the owner, I know a lot about that. The grocery store actually carries the majority of that operation, and so everything else is extra.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're actively seeking stuff, but the only thing I've disagreed with him on is he got upset over his restaurant down there, because when the old operators took out some of the equipment, and so they were fighting, and I told him, I mean, they've been fighting for 2 years.
Yeah, that's when that stuff
I
goes.
told him, I said, go to a restaurant auction and spend $25,000 and buy you some stuff, stock it and get it rented out. But no, that was mine in principle, blah, blah, blah. But he's shot himself in the foot multiple times with that
Cut
restaurant
his nose
thing.
off to
But,
spite his face.
yeah. But as far as that other,
The rest of it, yeah.
there is, I have heard, some big box, like Gbo's type stuff, maybe looking at some of that. I don't know, but it's just big space.
I guess I'm ignorant. What's a Burke's?
But it's
So like a department
if you go to
store.
Plainview, there's one over on that little shopping
Oh,
center.
It's like a Bell's.
Yeah, it's
I
kind
think
of like,
it's
yeah,
a
it's
bell.
like-
Pretty cool. It's got name brand stuff.
Yeah, they carry
That would've been
more.
nice. I was gonna say,
My
when Bill's
wife
left, that's where I got all my.
Maybe we can pick them back up. I'll tell you honestly, what's hurt a lot of these small towns is the dollar stores. It's been a saving grace, but it's also been tough.
That was Shopko's issue. The majority of the people who can afford to shop at Shopko can also afford to drive to Lubbock.
Yeah.
And it's some reason we can keep $3 stores open in this town. That's, our clientele isn't, we've got a big shift in our economy.
I had to go to Morton yesterday, and I had met this old man that we had a closing and drove to Portales, but we were just talking about Morton, 2,000 population, I think. And I asked him, he said, we don't even have a grocery store.
Nothing, yeah.
And I thought, surely Lowe's has a grocery store here. He said, no, we don't have a grocery store. All we got, Allsup's and that dollar
We got
store.
two towns in our county that ain't got a grocery store.
But you know, I get it. Like Sudan, when those dollar stores come in, you can go buy a pack of underwear and some canned food. But man, you don't have produce and you don't have meat. And you know, but a town like Sudan or Morton can't support a Lowe's and a dollar store. And I get it. And I'd rather have the grocery store, but because you can Amazon underwear to your door. So,
I can get it tomorrow.
I can't get it tomorrow, but I'd rather be able to go pick my celery out at the store.
I mean, to me, a third dollar store moving in here did not give me warm fuzzy feelings.
And this is scary.
All right, the website page.
Yes, sir. I'll make this quick. If we could go to page 16. Basically, all the other stuff that Glenn, was getting familiar with the system and kind of figuring out where our links were, because economic development was at multiple different locations. I want to minimize that, make it as few clicks as possible to find that tab. The tentative ED sitemap, if you look under economic development, that's sort of going to be the heading of it, and then these Y little field data statistics, site selection and about is going to be on the left-hand portion of the website, where you click that field and those sub drop-down boxes will be there. I've got her working on, I gave her all the data and statistics for that tab, and then I gave her all the information for the site selection. And I told her I wanted that to be available to go live here within the next few weeks. So people could start clicking on that stuff already. We have the majority of that information, and then site selection, we're gonna go with that model of getting the realtors to provide us the brochures, and it's gonna be hyperlink. You get to see the property and have the point of contact information of the individuals you need to get in touch with, and then it'll take them to their website, and then if they wanna call them if they're interested, but just another location besides LoopNet and all these other ones that people Google commercial property in Littlefield, it could be on our website. So we're just taking other people's work and, not putting too much of our time invested in it. And everything else will focus on the Y Littlefield, and the about will be completed as well. But that's kind of how it's gonna look, and what goes in there, you should be able to look at it here in the next few weeks. I'll bring email to y'all or something like that.
So y'all staying with Civic Plus?
Yeah, I mean, with the investment, it just makes sense, and we are probably going to have to make an investment to get a new flyover image and new promotional stuff to put on there, because we don't have anything. But that's for once this gets, and then I start speaking to other suppliers for that stuff.
What flyover image, what's that?
They could do a promotional video maybe in the springtime or the summer when it looks nice and there's a lot of milk trucks, like the promotional video y'all did back in the day. But we need to have updated images and stuff, what it looks like now with the construction completed, and hopefully we're working up some earth over there in the business park, and that's how we got those crickets and stuff. They seen a ad display, the announcement of the pool and stuff. So we need to have more announcements so people start looking over here. And but that's what we need the information for. But that's down the road once this gets foundation gets laid for this.
Good.
Perfect.
Anything else? Thank y'all, lots of information, so entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second by Lori, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Thank y'all for being here.
Look busy there. Busy today.